Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. Walk on Wednesday. We have no walk on Wednesday. We have Nugget Wednesday today. How's that, Kaustubha?
Okay.
I didn't get a walk on Wednesdays. Spaced out. Had a rough day.
So, okay. Are you still working on Sunday?
Still working on
spacing that one out too.
I'd space that one out. What?
Okay. Well, I'm just asking. Have you made any progress on it?
No, I
Okay.
haven't made progress,
No,
but I have
still some
people
time.
working on it. My people are working on it right now.
Okay.
I have teams. My team is on it. I'll get back to your team with some info. Okay. Well, good morning. It's Wednesday, and how are you? Everything good?
I'm doing good. Working on it.
All right, good. Mara, everything good? You got any good, interesting announcements for us?
I do have some announcements. First of all, today is our 699th episode, which is
Ooh.
tomorrow's 700.
Tomorrow, we got to do something. If you got a good idea what we should do for tomorrow's episode, put it on the board.
Quick.
Kaustubha specializes in last-minute changes. He loves that.
No, we got to come up with a quick.
In other
Maybe
announcements-
we should do some for 750. That's kind of like a round number too, you know.
700 is pretty big.
It is.
That is.
It is. All right, go
That
on.
means
All right, well,
about a
another
year
announcement.
from now we should be at 1,000.
That'll be really big.
We got to do something really big for that, yeah. 1,008.
Yeah.
Okay. So Trevor Vaughn is offering an asana class for our Patreon members at 8 a.m. And then our dear friend Bobby is doing her first part of a 3-part yin series at 9:45 a.m. We have Bhakti recovery group meetings today at 1 and 9:30 p.m.
Ooh.
Okay.
We're going to do a, Roddy Case just texted me. He's going to do a Bhagavad Gita and astrology workshop for our Patreon members too.
Interesting.
Yeah. A few, like a series of them. Anyway,
What's the connection? How do
the
they
connection is, I don't know. He's going
Right.
to tell
You're gonna
us.
find
That's what
that.
the class is about. Anyway, that's for our Patreon members, and we're doing Sweet Baby Krishna again tonight. What time do we say? 6 p.m. tonight. It's a little earlier tonight because I got the kids. We have all the kids over at Gopal Chandra's house running around causing havoc. So you want to join us 6 p.m. If you're not a Patreon member, today's a great day to be one. Patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. We appreciate those who support us. Thank you. We appreciate those who don't support us too, but we're trained to appreciate
Especially.
here in the Bhakti.
Okay.
Let me give you some nuggets of wisdom. I call these my anger nuggets.
Anger nuggets.
Yeah, because sometimes I get angry and I need some special nuggets just for my anger.
Okay. Who's the first
Ready
one?
for that?
Yeah.
The first one is a good friend of mine named Play-Doh. Play-Doh is a famous squeezing toy for children to make various animals, colored animals, and
I think it was
little humans.
Play-Doh, Raghunath.
Play-Doh. Okay. Here's the nugget. There are two things a person should never be angry at. What they can help and what they cannot.
There you go.
Right? Sometimes people, you got to help somebody and you're frustrated. All right, I'll do it. No. Don't be angry at the people that you can help. And don't be angry at.
Well, I think but I think what it's saying is like, in other words, no matter what the situation is, it falls under one of two categories. Either it's something that you can change, something you can help, or something that you cannot change. Right? So if you can't change it, why be angry? Just go ahead and change it.
Okay. All right. You know what? You have a deeper understanding of this than I did.
It's
Can't
okay.
change it. Why be angry?
Yeah. And then if you cannot change
you can
it,
change it.
right? If you can't change it, then don't sit there getting angry. Do something positive, right? Change it. And if it's something that's out of your range of influence that you can't change, well, what's the point in being angry about it?
I have a confession to make. These are not my nuggets. They're Kaustubhas.
It's Plato's nugget. Okay, but that's a good one, isn't it?
Yes. And my next one is from Mark Twain, one of my
Back to Mark Twain.
travelers of old India.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine having his photo collection of India, Mark Twain.
Well, did they have cameras? When did he live?
I think when it was iPhone 2 was around.
Okay.
There's some. Isn't it amazing? Like I have my older kids, I have like no photos of them because they go like, back then you couldn't take camera photos.
It was expensive.
It was expensive. You got to develop them. Like these 11 pictures did not come out well. Throw them out.
Okay, Mark Twain. What did you have to say about anger? Yeah.
Anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured.
Little rhyming nugget. That's a good one too.
Yep.
Right? It does more damage to the person that's holding it. You think that your anger is affecting the person that you're angry at, but it's not.
Yeah, it's affecting the vessel.
Or at least more so, right? Yeah. How about one more?
One more? Okay, this is from Thomas Paine. You know who he is?
Yeah, he wrote, what was it? Common Sense?
Common Sense.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest
American
remedy for
Revolutionary.
anger. Yeah. The greatest remedy for anger is delay.
Delay.
It's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
You got to put it off a few days before you really want to lash out. Don't hurt them back. Wait a few days. Let it sit with it. Breathe.
Actually, it's funny you say
understand.
Breathe, because I think it was another American revolutionary, Thomas Jefferson, who said something like, if you're angry, before you speak, take 10 breaths. And if you're very angry, take 100 before you speak. It's the same delay tactic, right?
Yeah. Well, also generally, one thing I think that generally happens with the delay tactic is you start shifting to nugget 2, which is, oh, I get it. This person I'm angry at, they're filled with acid. It's their acid that I'm mad at, that's in their vessel, and it's sort of contaminated my vessel, and I want to strike back.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, my anger is striking back. I don't just generally get angry at people, I find. What do you think, Mary? Well, I want to strike back, but I pull back a little bit. I delay. I take 100 breaths, and then I realize, like, that's burning them up. Why am I so upset at them? They're melting.
Okay.
Huh?
All right.
I'm melting. Do you know what that's from?
Wizard of Oz. Thank you for that.
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. In loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact.
Om Gyanatimurandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmidatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. And we have a new chapter today, my friend.
Yeah, we did a whole chapter in one day
Canto
yesterday.
4, chapter 11.
Okay. What's the title?
Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj to stop fighting.
Okay. Because he got angry, right?
They got angry, yeah. Ready to dive?
I'm ready to dive. This is, we were going to talk a little bit about the previous chapter, weren't we? Wasn't that the idea? That we did a couple verses.
There was a good verse that it wound up on.
Yeah. Or I think
We
the
were
last
sort
two
of
verses.
rushing.
Yeah, we kind of rushed to
Rushing
get
towards
through
the
it.
end, just so we could say we finished the chapter. We shouldn't care about the race, Kaustubha. We got to care more about the journey.
Okay.
It's more about the journey.
So then I think what happened was, what was it? Was it? Oh no, maybe that wasn't.
Want me to read
Was
the
that? Maybe
last
that was the
verse?
previous. I remember that. I think that was the previous one, right? Yeah, Dhruva Maharaj, the sages came along. The great sages.
we were reading
heard
that great
Dhruva Maharaj is
verse.
overpowered by the mystic tricks of demons. Yeah.
The holy name of the Lord is as powerful as the Lord himself. Therefore, simply by chanting and hearing the holy name of
That's
the
right.
Lord, many men can be fully protected from fierce death without difficulty.
Okay.
Thus, a devotee is saved. Boom. That's
There you
it.
go.
That's the whole Bhagavatam right there.
In one sense, there's the formula right there. And
That's you need not read anything else, but you better,
okay. Might help.
because we tend to forget things.
Right, right. So in other words, his illusion and all the crap that was being thrown at him, the illusory crap that was being thrown at him in his life, there was a remedy for it, and that was to bring the mind, to bring the mind to the mantra, right? To bring the mind to Krishna in one form or another. But here they say in the form of the holy name. That's something that you carry with you always, right?
Yeah. My internet connection is unstable.
Well, so far so good. Let's not worry about it.
Okay.
Okay, so that was chapter. Kind of that theme is going to continue into this chapter because he's still getting all this stuff thrown at him, and Dhruva starts to. He's like kind of like he's going to dispel all the illusion, and he's going to do it with like a special arrow. Well, anyway, let's hear about that.
Sri Maitreya said, "My dear Vidura, when Dhruva Maharaj heard the encouraging words of the great sages, he performed the Akshman by touching water, and then took up his arrow, made by Lord Narayan, and fixed it upon his bow." It took me years to realize that that's what touching water meant.
Doing Achman?
Doing Akshman. Akshman is when you take a little cup and a little spoon and you pour some water in your right hand, and you chant mantras into the water, and then you sip that water.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear that? Read that book by Dr. Emoto
Was that about chanting mantras into sand or something like that?
No, into water. You
Into
write
water.
things on a bottle of water, like love or things like that, and it changes the structure of the water.
I've heard about that.
Love, hate. Yeah, yes. And so it's the same principle. You're chanting the mantra of Lord Vishnu, then you're drinking that water. So anyway, he's saying, and it's a purificatory ritual.
So that you can bring your mind to the right place, right?
Yeah.
In other words, it's going to assist one. Let me not just chant the mantra externally. Let me take the mantra internally. And that's going to assist me to bring the mind to the right place. Because he's got to dispel all this illusion. And in order to do so, he's got to bring his mind to the right place. And so when he shoots this arrow, it says the arrow made by Lord Narayan. He's not just shooting it with the bow, but he's also chanting a mantra simultaneously, which is also part of how that weapon is released.
Be a great name for a band, Touching Water.
Okay.
sort of post-punk emo.
Okay.
No? Okay.
We're touching water.
And then took up, and I think so, and then took up his arrow made by Lord Narayan and fixed it upon his bow. As soon as Dhruva Maharaj joined the Narayanastra arrow to his bow, so this is not some ordinary bow. This is the Narayanastra.
Astra means?
It's a weapon.
Okay. Narayan, so it's a weapon.
The Narayan Astra. The illusion created by the Yaksha was immediately vanquished, just as all material pains and pleasures are vanquished when one becomes fully cognizant of the self.
Okay.
Nice analogy.
Yeah.
Even-
And I guess, it's the theme, I think, of what we're meant to be picking up here.
Even as Dhruva Maharaj fixed the weapon made by Narayan Rishi. Oh, Narayan Rishi made it. That's why it's called the Narayan Astra. Onto his bow, arrows with golden shafts and feathers like the wings of a swan flew out from it. Do you know it's illegal to have a bald eagle feather? It's like a $10,000 fine. Even if you just pick it up on the ground, that is a crime, my friend. Just
I'll keep that in mind. I don't think I can afford that.
Yeah, don't pick up two. They entered the enemy's. Huh?
You started again. Text 3.
Text 3. Even as Dhruva fixed the weapon made by Narayan Rishi on his bow, arrows with golden shafts and feathers like the wings of a swan flew out from it. They entered the enemy soldiers with the great hissing sound, just as peacocks enter a forest with the tumultuous crowing.
Wow. So he shot one arrow, but with the mantra, it manifested into many arrows. And it just dispelled all the illusion.
Those sharp arrows dismayed the enemy soldiers, who became almost unconscious. But various Yakshas on the battlefield, in a rage against Dhruva Maharaj, somehow or other collected their weapons and attacked. Just as serpents agitated by Garuda rushed towards Garuda with upraised hoods, all the Yaksha soldiers prepared to overcome Dhruva Maharaj with their upraised weapons. I'm trying to picture that. I want to see what a Yaksha looks like.
Well, it seems like they're probably attractive because it's just that description we heard. Like it said, they're on the battlefield, they're decorated in gold and their limbs are very beautiful, and even when they're cut off their bodies, so they're on higher planets. So,
well, it said they were wearing beautiful things. It doesn't mean they were beautiful.
Well, it also said that the limbs themselves are beautiful.
Okay. All right. When Dhruva Maharaj saw the Yakshas coming forward, he immediately took his arrows and cut the enemies to pieces. Ooh. Separating their arms, legs, heads, and bellies from their bodies. This is sort of like PG-13. He delivered the Yakshas to the planetary system, which is situated above the sun globe, and which is attainable only by first-class brahmacharis who have never discharged their semen.
You were wondering whether you should read it or not.
No, I actually wasn't.
Pregnant pause.
The pause was not for that.
Okay.
The pause was for, I was thinking about like the Yakshas to the planetary system, which is situated above the sun globe. I was thinking about planets, and that's why I paused. And then, oh, great, this is the last 5 words I have to read.
Well, it's just saying that they're these great self-controlled yogis, right? And they can ascend to the higher planets, but somehow Dhruva, it's not only beneficial to be killed by a god, right? And you go, you get liberation, but even by Dhruva, who's like such a great devotee, somehow it was almost like a benediction to be killed by him. They ascended to higher planets.
Very interesting. When Swayambhuva Manu saw that his grandson Dhruva Maharaj was killing so many of the Yakshas, who were not actually offenders, they were like innocent Yakshas, out of his great compassion, he approached Dhruva with great sages to give him good instruction.
Okay. So Dhruva's, in one sense, he's thinking he's doing his duty, but he got out of hand, right? His anger got out of hand. And so now his grandfather's coming, and he's going to give him, and he didn't come alone, he came with all the different sages. So, it's like, it was kind of an intervention, I suppose you could say. Mm-hmm. And they're going to speak to him.
It's a total intervention.
Yeah.
We think you're killing too much.
When you killed all those yakshas, it made me feel like this or that. But it's this whole chapter, in a sense, we read the whole chapter yesterday. In one sense, yesterday's whole chapter just set up that last verse, right? But it's also kind of setting up this whole chapter, because now we got a whole chapter about just really great instructions about anger. We'll see. They'll all unfold now.
And Swayambhuva Manu, he is the father of mankind, sort of. He's not of this planet, right? He doesn't live on this planet.
I don't suppose. I mean, maybe sometimes.
I don't know if you heard my little word nerd thing, but it's where we get the English word man from Manu. Did you know that?
I did.
You did know that? Okay. I have nothing to teach you, do I?
No,
Except
so
that
much.
feather thing, the $10,000 feather fine.
That
was new for you,
crucial.
Kaustubha.
That was crucial.
I impressed everyone with that. All right, my dear
Just
son,
don't
the
Google
killing
it, 'cause
of the
it's probably
sinless.
not true.
It's true. Look it up.
It is true. I looked it up.
Okay, I've never checked out.
It's true.
Okay.
See, some of the hearsay I speak of is true, Kaustubha.
Okay.
Lord Manu said, my dear son, please stop. It is not good to become unnecessarily angry. It is the path to hellish life. Now you're going beyond the limit by killing Yakshas who are actually not offenders.
Okay. So first,
My dear son.
So let's slow down. Let's slow down, Raghunath. Let's slow it down. Let's talk a little bit about anger, huh?
Yeah, let's Kaustubha.
Let's talk about your anger, Raghunath.
I'm about to get angry if you slow me down again.
No, but so here he comes forward. He steps forward. Manu steps forward and says it's not good to become unnecessarily angry. It's the path to hellish life. So that, quite frankly, it's something that most of us struggle with, isn't it? I need to hear you.
Yeah, if provoked, yes.
Okay.
Especially, yes.
If provoked, but
I mean, sometimes just get. Yeah, I guess sometimes some people are very, very triggered, and they get, Maturananda was talking about his road rage.
Road rage. That's one type of anger.
He right. And
Okay,
that is,
but
some people are easily angered.
Some people more so than others. And so really, it's a question of gaining control of the mind, right? Something happens externally, and then within the body, first within the mind and also within the body, anger manifests. The heart starts pumping more. The temperature rises. And in one sense, it's said that the whole body becomes polluted by anger when one feels it. And it's a state where, in general, we're out of control, right? We're being controlled by the mind. But where is it born from? What does it come from? I'm asking.
Where's it coming from?
Yeah.
Attachment.
Oh, okay.
Little Bhagavad Gita 262.
Yeah. Okay. So what does it say there?
Give me the first word.
Dhyayato.
Dhyayato vishayam pumso sha sangaste upajayate sangas sanjayate kama krodha upajayate.
Okay, so kamat krodha abhijayate. Right. From kama, actually, from desire, krodha, comes anger. Anger is born.
Comes to attachment.
Anger is manifest. Yeah, I mean, kama literally says kama, which means desire. But yeah, the two are kind of closely related, right?
Yeah. You desire it, then you're attached to it. And once you're attached to it, then you don't get what you want, then we become angry. So it's a super control issue.
It's born of frustration, right? It's born of frustration. Something's happening. So some circumstance, some behavior happened in a way that we didn't want it to happen. And then so that's the attachment there, right? That's the desire. And then what we're anticipating, what we're expecting, what we're desiring doesn't manifest. Frustration is born from that, and from that frustration comes anger, and that anger it's actually a state of mind where one's really lost control. Like it's where we're actually vulnerable to, like, this machine is moving in a certain way. The mind and the body are moving according to what's been triggered, and I'm kind of out of control. And in many times in that state, one will create problems much greater than the ones that cause the anger, right?
Yeah. How do you deal with your anger issues, Kaustubha?
Well,
You don't get that angry. I don't. Actually, you do sometimes. Get angry at me.
Get angry at you.
What am I talking about? He always gets angry at me.
There was I think I mentioned this on the show.
You step away.
Before.
You step away.
Well, I feel I don't get angry too often. Too often. I used to accept my own anger, and now I try to like deal with it. But really, where I want to take it is actually I want to take it to that other level. In other words, someone may say there was a time in my life where once, I think I shared this with you, I got really angry once. And someone just called me out for it. Right, I was like a monk at the time, and at that time there was kind of like a culture where it was considered like all right to get angry, right? Like, because for the mission or whatever, Yeah. You with me?
It's a little choppy. I can't. You're speaking in choppy language.
I'm sorry, but in any case, but one time I just got called out for it, and the person, they just looked at me and said, you know what, almost like, I don't remember the exact words, but they said, just look at you, you're just like everybody else, and I just see you're not self-controlled. Look at you. It was kind of like that.
Ooh.
And it kind of struck me. And at that point I thought about it, and I realized that my anger never manifested anything positive. Like, I can't think of any example where I got angry to make things better. And so there's really no justification for it. It's really just my own mind is becoming polluted by this, and it's making me act like a fool. And so from that point, I really tried to not allow myself to become angry, right? Not at least not to behave with anger, and to really cool it down. But I think we all got to do that. We all have to say, yeah, I won't be controlled anymore. But what I would like to do as I'm aging now, I'd really like to take it further and really not even become frustrated. To me, that's like the more subtle, if we're going through the mind and we're trying to gain control of it, the one level is, okay, I'm not going to manifest anger, but another level, and kind of like the better level to take it on, right? The more mature level, and the more preventative, sattvic level, is to really deal with frustration. Like, can I prevent my mind from even going into a place of frustration? If I do that, anger's not even an issue. But really, it's that's the level of the sages, right? It's like they're able to deal with all of life's different issues, all the different things that come up with. It was kind of like that quote that we heard from Mark Twain. Was it Mark Twain or no? The one from Plato, right? That there are two kind of things in this world that you should never become angry at. That which you can change and that which you can't change. So that means like there's really no reason, and that's kind of a person. Like even on that level of frustration, what should I become frustrated about? Either I can help change what I'm frustrated about, or I can't. So what's the point of becoming frustrated? You just kind of realize I have a certain level of influence in this world. I'll make the most of that. And what I can't change, then I just accept that. I learn to live with that, and really that has something to do with finding that happiness within, not trying to always change everything externally.
My takeaway is going to be delay.
A delay.
Yeah. Push my reaction back. I want to react, push it back.
And you do that through breathing?
No, just don't react. You want to write back, you want to text back, you want to call back, you want to scream back. Delay.
All right.
Delay.
See
how you feel after 3 days. See if it's the same emotion.
Right. There's what to speak of if you've spoken to some people about it too.
Yeah, right. After you get the Swayambhuva intervention team in, some wise people in your life. We need some wise people in our lives. We need to have some people on the speed dial that we can go to. I'm frustrated. I'm losing it. This is a great place to make friends. Matter of fact, everybody on Zoom should have a little buddy they reach out to when they're frustrated. Make a friend. Say, hey, I want to call you if I'm getting frustrated. We need to people like that peers that we can reach out to. And we're not even asking them to fix our problems, just people you can share with. This is what I'm going through. And you just be a vessel, a listener, an empathetic soul that can just hear them out. And sometimes just talking it out It relieves you of some type of knot in the mind. You find that, Kaustubh?
I think that's great advice. And like you're saying, that person may not be able to solve the issue, but just by talking it out, you may be able to approach it in a more sober way.
Yeah.
Right? Not act out of the anger. You know, just getting back to the frustration and all that, I saw a little video clip of someone speaking about a verse. It was actually Gauranga Prabhu, you know, who we had on the show once before. Yeah. But he spoke about this verse in Bhagavatam. It's in the 7th canto. And it's a really interesting verse. I'll read it. You ready? You there?
Yep.
Just a big delay. So the verse reads, "For a person who has suitable shoes on their feet, there is no danger, even when they walk on pebbles and thorns. For them, everything is auspicious. Similarly, for one who is always self-satisfied, there is no distress. Indeed, they feel happiness everywhere." And there's such a lesson in this, right? Because in one sense, it's almost like, it's saying like, say I have to walk down a path, right? Which we all have to do in life. We're all walking down a path of life. And say that path is full of pebbles and thorns. So that means different things are going to be unpleasant on that path, and they can cause pain or suffering, right? Now, there are two ways you can deal with it. You can either try to remove every pebble and every thorn, but that's kind of like you're probably not going to be able to do that. You're not even going to have time to move forward if you just spend your whole day picking up thorns and pebbles on the path. But if you put on a pair of shoes, then it doesn't matter how many pebbles there are. It doesn't matter how many thorns there are. You can walk, and it's no problem, right? So rather than try to change everything, you try to change your ability to deal with everything, right? You put on a pair of shoes. And so, you know, our thing in life is we become angry about this, we become frustrated about that, we want to change everything, we want to change everyone. And it builds up, you know. This is, like I said, you know, I felt like anger was a bigger issue in my life at one point. But at another point in my life, I feel like, at this point in my life too, you know, I feel like frustration is like where I got to take it. You know, that like, don't become frustrated about everything. Here it's saying that for one who's self-satisfied, there's no distress. If I can actually tap into my connection to the super soul, my connection to Paramatma, then no matter what the external circumstances, there may be many pebbles, there may be many thorns in life, but it's like just putting on a pair of shoes. Now I can deal with anything, you know, and remain even-minded, right? But generally what we try to do is totally impractical. We try to change everything in the world that disturbs us or that we're frustrated about, and we become angry about it, and it really goes nowhere. You're not able to move down the path, you know.
By the way, everyone's now putting their phone numbers on the Zoom message board to reach out to make a.
Okay.
We gotta think of a name for this, Mara. What's a good name for? Call a buddy.
Phone a friend.
Phone a friend. Yeah, we call it the Transcendental Phone a Friend. All right, where are we at? Text number 8. My dear son, the killing of sinless Yakshas, which you have undertaken, is still not at all approved by authorities. And it does not, I'm trying to think who's more of an authority than Swayambhuva Manu. And it does not befit our family. Okay. Which is supposed to know the laws of Dharma and Adharma. Text 9. My dear son, it has been proved that you are very much affectionate towards your brother and are greatly aggrieved at his being killed by the Yakshas. But just consider, for one Yaksha's offense, you have killed many others who are innocent. One should not accept the body as the self and thus, like the animals, kill the bodies of others. This is especially forbidden by saintly persons who follow the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 11. It's very difficult to achieve the spiritual abode of Hari in Vaikuntha planets, but you are so fortunate that you are already destined to go to that abode by worshiping him as the supreme abode of all living entities. Because you are a pure devotee of the Lord is always thinking of you.
Let's go back to 11 for a second. Let's read. Let's hear what it's saying. It's very difficult to achieve the spiritual abode of Hari. Okay. in the Vaikuntha planets, but you are so fortunate that you are already destined to go to that abode by worshiping him as the supreme abode of all living entities. And there's some interesting Sanskrit. There's it starts off saying Sarva Bhutatma Bhavana, right? Bhavana means one's meditation, right? It can mean one's mood or one's feeling, and here Prabhupada translates it as meditation. Sarva Bhutatma, seeing the Atma within Sarva Bhuta, all living entities. Who's the Atma that's in all living beings?
Paramatma.
The Paramatma, right? So that's Lord Vishnu. So through Sarva Bhutatma Bhavana, through meditation on the super soul within every living being, right? It says that aradhya, which means by worshiping, apa duraradhyam, very difficult. In one sense, it means very difficult to worship. So I think what it's saying is that it's like by seeing the Lord within every living being, by seeing the Paramatma within every living being, that's really the highest kind of worship. It's a kind of worship that most people can't do, right? It's like, it's easy to do some worship in a temple, to ring a bell and wave some incense. But you've done this duradhayam, where this more difficult, this more advanced type of worship. You've seen God within every living being. And therefore, Vishnu Tat Paramam Padam, you've qualified yourself to that highest, to that Paramam Padam, to that highest platform of Lord Vishnu, like that. It's just kind of always pointing us in. This is the kind of thing, it's just Bhagavatam's doing it again and again. The Vedas won't do this, right? If you read those books, it's going to tell you, do the worship, right? Worship God, chant the hymns, do the worship. It's a step forward. But Bhagavatam's always trying to take us to that deeper level. See God within every living being. Right. See what other people aren't seeing. That's a higher worship. That's where you're meant to go. You're meant to be transformed, rather than just like you're meant to do certain duties. You're meant to actually become transformed by them, and that transformation should have. It's your vision that's being transformed. You begin to see what other people aren't seeing. See what's behind everything that others aren't seeing. See the connection. See what connects everything and everyone, and that's the Paramatma.
That's the difference. Whereas the Vedas are like, do the pujas, chant the mantras, win valuable prizes.
Win valuable prizes, yeah.
Right? And we were like, no, do the pujas, do the mantras, completely transform your life, get over it, get above it.
In one sense, that's the essence. Maybe that's the essence of the difference between religion and spirituality. It's like religion is kind of focused on salvation, right? Whereas spirituality is focused on like enlightenment, right? Like becoming transformed. And that's the more difficult type of worship.
Sure. Okay. 12.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are a pure devotee of the Lord is always thinking of you, and you are also recognized by all his confidential devotees. Your life is meant for exemplary behavior. I am therefore surprised. Why have you undertaken such this abominable task? The Lord is very satisfied with his devotee. And when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality, the Lord is satisfied with his devotee when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality.
Okay.
Good little instruction there.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of we've even recently we've gone over this, right? Like the way that you relate to different levels of people, right?
Yeah.
So like tolerance is something that you know like it's the kind of thing where say someone can't appreciate my devotion, someone can't appreciate my spiritual practice, say they're even antagonistic towards it, then I just tolerate that, right? I don't need to fight them. You know, I let that go. That's one of those things in life, you know, that's one of those pebbles or thorns that, you know, I got my shoes on, so, you know, I can walk right past it. You know, I don't have to get too upset about it. Mercy, you know, for those that are eager, you know, then you're doing all you can to help them. And friendship for like those equal, you know, the kind of like people that are kind of like your peers. You know, you develop that kind of deep friendship. This is, again, this is where Bhagavatam's going. Like, there are those three. This is kind of like the Madhyamadikari that's being described here, right? It's kind of the level of of bhakti where we're called to practice. It's not like, well, later in Bhagavatam, in the 11th canto, there'll be 3 verses. They're in the second chapter of the 11th canto that describe 3 different levels of devotees. There's the Uttama Adhikari, which means?
Qualification.
But the Uttama.
Oh, the Uttama, the topmost. Uttama.
Yeah,
It's like the topmost.
The highest devotee. And then there's the Madhyam, which means?
Middle.
There must be
in the middle,
like a
Somewhere in the
word
middle.
nerd thing there, right? Madhyam.
Medium. It is. Medium and Madhya, I think. Medium
Yeah.
comes from Madhya.
Right. And then there's what's called the Kanishta, which is more like the beginner, the neophyte. And so,
Kanishta, the new jack is the
The new
rough
jack.
translation.
okay.
New jack.
And so just by hearing these 3 verses, it tells us so much about where our spiritual practice needs to go, where we shouldn't get stuck, and where we're going to make some real traction and where it's ultimately meant to go. That you could look at it that way, right? Like the Kanishta, the beginner, that's where we're not meant to get stuck. And the Madhyam is where we're really meant to make traction, in our transformation. And where it's all meant to lead, what we have to have our eyes on, and what we have to really appreciate, what we have to be aiming for, is that Uttama level. So they go in the opposite direction. These verses, they read, this is 11, 2, I'll read 45 through 47, all right? So it begins with the Uttama Adhikari. The most advanced devotee sees within everything the soul of all souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? That's the Paramatma, right? The soul within every living being. So it says, the most advanced devotees see within everything the soul of all souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Consequently, they see everything in relation to the Supreme Lord and understand that everything that exists is eternally situated within the Lord. Okay, that's the vision that we're aiming for, right? Now the Madhyam, this is where we really, at least we want to operate, at least on this platform. An intermediate or second-class devotee called Madhyama Adhikari offers their love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a sincere friend to all the devotees of the Lord, shows mercy to the ignorant people who are innocent, and disregards those who are envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I think that disregards, it means more like they tolerate, right? In other words, okay, they may come at me with some negativity. I'm just not going there, So that's the intermediate. That's where, if we can operate on this level, we start to really make some serious advancement when we chant the holy name. If we behave with all these different categories of people, as it's being instructed here, we're going our own character and our own mind will be uplifted. It won't become degraded, and we'll have a mind that's able to think and see more deeply, and we can move towards that Uttama platform. The chanting, it's described that chanting on this platform becomes very effective. And then the third, a devotee who faithfully engages in the worship of the deity in the temple, but does not behave properly towards other devotees or people in general, is called the Prakrita Bhakta, literally a materialistic devotee, and is considered to be the lowest position. Right? So that's kind of like, that's a very common platform to operate on, right?
It's like the fanatic. You in one sense profess your love for God or the deity or the temple or your religious path, but you just don't treat anyone well. You don't see that God is within every person.
Yeah. Yeah, when you walk into a temple and you see Krishna standing there on the altar, right? He's got his flute, right? And it's like, oh yeah, that's God. And then I bow down, and even maybe I make a bit of a show of that to show people how pious I am and everything.
Bit of a show, some puja, dance crazy in the kirtan.
Okay. but
Very advanced.
And it's interesting. It says natad bhakteshu. They don't behave well with other devotees, to the bhaktas, natad bhakteshu, but then it also says chanyeshu, and everyone else as well. So it's not just, it's not only, maybe the next level would be they behave in respect more of the Vaishnavas, saying, hey, God is manifest in these people, right? But it goes on to extend it, that no, actually in all people, right? That we're meant to see this. But, again, as I get older, I think, like, am I operating? Is there something that's got me stuck on this platform, right? Is there something lacking in me that where my behavior isn't totally exemplary to all different categories of people? Am I still smug in some ways? Do I still feel a sense of superiority? Does it come out in my words? Does it come out in my actions? If so, then, hey, maybe that's the reason why when I sit down to chant, I'm getting nowhere. I feel like I'm getting nowhere, right? I haven't qualified my mind into entering into those deeper levels of meditation and experiencing that transformation. And the idea that I need to come, what is the ultimate level of consciousness that I'm meant to come to? It's kind of, seeing everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, understanding that everything that exists is eternally situated within the Lord, seeing within every soul, seeing within every living being, the soul of all souls, the Supreme Personality of God. How deep is that realization in me as I move throughout life, as I deal with my different relationships, even as I walk down the street, where is my mind? Am I seeing that soul, or am I seeing the body? And is the body, and all the externals more dominant in my mind? So that's the challenge. That's if you're looking for spirituality, that's what it looks like.
That's the work there. Good job. I like that.
Yeah. Important verses.
You got time for one more? You got time for one more?
I think so.
14. One who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and the subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. It's nice, isn't it? Yours for the taking.
One who actually satisfied. Yeah. So we're hearing how to satisfy, right? How you relate with different people. What was, how you control anger. So, how you're seeing God within every living being. That's how you satisfy. And then one who actually does satisfy, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions, thus being freed from all modes of
There's some
nature.
gross material conditions. You get liberated from those. Then there's some subtle stuff.
Go deeper. Yeah,
Gotta
that's
work
kind
on
of
that subtle stuff.
That's kind of what I mean. Like, in one sense, anger is one thing, frustration is another, right? Like, maybe I don't manifest my anger externally. Maybe it doesn't even. Maybe my frustration doesn't even get to the point of anger. But it's just like I'm a little annoyed. I'm a little ornery. I'm a little uptight. Because I'm
There's
just.
grosser stuff than that. There's just like plain belligerent violence.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying, but you just said you can go from gross to finer. And so what I'm saying, like in my own life, I definitely want to deal with the grossest level of, manifestations of anger. But what about trying to work, if we've made some progress on that, what about trying to work on the frustration, right? Which is a bit more subtle. Like I may not be manifesting violence or, harsh words or even feeling anger in my mind, but there may be a sense of frustration, and that constant frustration, it weighs heavy on the mind, Why don't things go the way that I think they should go? Why don't people listen to me? Why don't people do what I say? It can be like something that's almost always there running in the background, and you're not free, and you're not able to meditate on the name. You're not able to feel good about other people, and then you just let go of it all. You just let go of it. You put on your shoes and you walk through it all, and you don't feel that pinch because you kind of realize my happiness is not dependent on everything going the way that I think it should go. And even when I try to change something, it doesn't necessarily work. So let me become more conscious of where I'm effective and where I'm not, and let me just learn to accept what I can't change. That's actually the sadhu. That's actually wisdom. That's kind of what it looks like. And without that, spirituality just doesn't go very deep.
I like it.
All right. Takeaways?
We got some takeaways, Mara. Come on over here.
Thanks. All right. Don't be angry if you can change it or if you can't.
That's the nugget.
Yeah.
It's not a takeaway.
You can take the nugget away.
It's a good
You
thing
can't
to
use a nugget as a takeaway.
Why not?
take away a nugget. Some
Take the
people
nugget
wanna
away.
take your
Raghu.
nugget.
I guess you can take away a nugget. Okay.
It is a takeaway. I'll take some nuggets to go,
Delay.
please.
Delay remedies anger.
That's another nugget.
You can take it away.
Nothing wrong. We already established that there's not a problem.
Take the mantra internally and externally to bring your mind to the right place.
Oh, that's the Achman.
Mhm.
Touching water.
Nothing good comes from being controlled by anger or frustration.
Mm-hmm.
You can't change everything on your path, but you can put shoes on.
There you go.
Transform.
I want to see you connect with that one, Raghu. I'm just seeing that one's just blowing right by you, but I think you could
Read it
use
again.
that
Read
one.
it
It's a
again.
good
But you
one.
can put shoes on. Okay, say it
Yeah.
again. Say it again.
You can't change everything on your path, but you can put shoes on. Like you can't change every pebble on your path, but you can.
In other words, you got to deal with yourself and your ability to accept things in life rather than trying to change everything external.
I know what it means.
Sorry, I had to work with you on the Plato one. I thought maybe that one was slipping by too. Okay,
All right,
but it's a
go
good
on.
one, right? I think you could put that in your arsenal, Raghu. I think that would be a good one for you.
All right.
Transform and transcend by seeing the Paramatma in everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Phone a friend to delay and transcend anger.
There we go. Phone a friend.
That's a
I just like phone a friend. Phone a friend.
Cultivate tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality.
Cultivate it.
Your life is meant for exemplary behavior.
And
Yes, yes. That's a good one.
And
The life is meant for exemplary behavior.
yeah, that's great. Don't pick up bald eagle feathers.
there you go.
That's an important takeaway. The
Got
other things can
$1,000
cause
for
you
that
know
one.
can save you from pain. Cause you. The other things can protect your mind from being a vessel of acid, but this one can save you good hard-earned dollars. I wonder if that's like the euros. If that's the issue in Europe in the European countries. Can you pick
What's
up
that?
bald eagle feathers there?
Probably.
They don't
Probably can.
honor the bald eagle the way that we do.
Like we do. It is like our sacred cow here.
Yeah, right, exactly. But what
There's
are
a
you
lot of
supposed to
eagle.
do? You just leave the feather there? You can't pick it
You
up?
leave
I
the
don't-
whole thing. Don't you dare pick that thing up.
No,
Don't you dare. There's bald eagles. There's a lot of bald eagles now, I find.
they
I've
got them
seen
in Central Park. There's been a bald eagle around this winter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know where there's a lot of bald eagles? It's going to blow your mind. Varkala.
In
South
Varkala?
India.
I mean, I
There's
spent a lot
bald
of
eagles
time in Varkala.
everywhere.
There's
There's
everywhere?
thousands of bald eagles
I've
everywhere.
spent a lot of time in Varkala, Raghunath. Much
Yeah,
more than you.
Bald,
I
bald
didn't see them
eagles
everywhere.
everywhere,
Okay.
flying
All right.
around, dropping feathers. Anyway, it's great to have this. We have a great Zoom group. If you're listening out there as one of the others, we love you. But the Zoom group is great because we all get to know each other very intimately. So you want to join Zoom, email Mara, wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. Do it. Join our little club. She'll send you the codes to get in. And tonight, Sweet Baby Krishna, it's been going really nicely, right?
Yeah.
6 o'clock tonight. Okay. It's 6
Garga
6 p.m.
Samhita?
We're reading through the Garga Samhita, and we're about to hear about the descent. Sweet Baby
Oh.
Krishna. Quite exciting. Quite exciting.
Is the
What else we
party
got?
porna? What was it?
Paripurnat Amsa. Paripurnat. I can't remember. Paripurna. Too many syllables. You're lucky I can say Swayambhuva Manu.